BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. You think you know your stuff? Well, get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200K. $200,000. It's ridiculous. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in the action. Bet online. The game starts here. So, you got the numbers, Joe? I'm going to bet. I would bet the numbers were down from last week. I could not see.
I'm going to say the same thing, and I'll tell you why. Because last week's show is very good, and this week's show is not that good to me.
Well, they weren't doing the things that made the show last week good. You know,
that's one of the reasons.
You started off with the match this time. You know, instead of to get right in. I don't know, but let me see here. So Dynamite. There was a couple things in the show that stood out like a sore thumb to me. I want to talk about. Okay, so
do you want the number before you begin?
Yeah, what was it?
So it was 687 down 4%.
From last, yes, about
yeah.
But they were up from 2 weeks ago, though, so that's not super bad. They were 660 2 weeks ago.
No, they were 770 last week, right?
No,
or
they were like
720.
but last week. But the week before that was like 660. So they've elevated a little bit from 2 weeks ago. But if they can,
what were they this week, Joe?
They were
687.
687. Last week was 716.
Okay, listen to this. NXT was 677.
Well, they had Punk on too, yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, they've been doing good numbers, anyways.
They have.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Soon, NXT is gonna pass them because it's a better show.
So AEW got a lot of heat for this show online for a segment that we'll talk about here. But they showed the Blackpool Combat Club walking backstage to start the show off. We go straight to Orange Cassidy versus Chris Jericho. What do you call it? So this is a long match. Okay, for what
did you go to the show, Joe?
No, well, I had to. I was recording with you guys, then I had to jump right on with Raven, so I just wasn't able to get out there.
Okay, so Big Bill shows up. Okay, and he Cassidy the Big Bill from the floor. Then Kyle O'Reilly fought at ringside with Big Bill. So then Briscoe and Keith, the other guy, what's his name? Keith Taylor?
The bounty hunter, whatever.
Bounty hunter.
Yeah.
They fought off. Cassidy went for beach break and sold it back. Cassidy ducked the Judas effect and hit the beach break for another near fall. Then Keith showed up and jumped on the apron. Then Briscoe showed up to counter him. Then Jericho tried to hit Cassidy with a roll of quarters. This was very poorly done. I'm sorry, Chris. The execution of this was not good with the quarters. Did you see this? Konnan?
Yes, of course I did. He basically
tossed him the quarters. Right? So the Cassidy got the quarters and hit them. Bro, this was 19 minutes. These are two guys doing a gimmick
long.
angle. It's a comedy angle. That you didn't need 19 minutes here.
Right.
And what were the numbers? Yeah, people are turning this off because it's going too long. It's like
Let me see the numbers on this.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this.
Okay, basically what I thought is right around what you thought. First of all, way too long. Bro, for as long as they've been feuding, this didn't feel personal.
Right.
They were just kicking out of moves, New Japan style at the end, which was getting pops. Good conditioning on Chris. And the reason I say this is because in Mexico, he was criticized because they said he blew up, but I didn't see the match. But I think it was because of the altitude. Right. You know what I'm saying? If you go out there, you will get blown up. Right. And like I had mentioned in the Lucha Libre segment, the main event should have been the mass match, and a lot of people were mad about that. But anyways, I thought he looked good here. Way too long. Okay, and of course they fought at the outside, and then all of a sudden they all disappeared. They weren't there anymore. Just this doesn't, it was too long, and it doesn't feel like a feud, like they hate each other or anything. Like you said, it's kind of a comedy angle,
right?
Yeah.
So they showed a footage of air from last week of Dynamite Pac and Castagnoli delivered backstage promo. Then Pac looked in the camera and wondered where Yuta was, and Pac said they have an AEW Trios title match next week, and it's time for Yuta to come to work. Right. So Castagnoli said he's not mad. He's just disappointed in Utah. And Castagnoli said he thought Utah better. Castagnoli said Utah is old enough to make his own decision, but he asked him to do him a favor by showing him next week so they could defend their titles. Then Moxley and Shafir show up, and Moxley knows there's a lot for Utah to handle, but he believes Utah has the strength inside him to do the right thing. And Moxley said it's Utah's choice, and he's free to leave, but he's a personal responsibility of the greater good. And Moxley said Yuta has to look in the mirror every morning. And Moxley asked what type of man they thought Yuta to be. So they're putting the focus on Wheeler. Alex Marved said he understood.
Are you interested in this thing with Yuta?
Not with Yuta, but I'm still sort of interested in the Blackpool Combat Club. They're giving a lot of focus on the show.
No, I asked about Yuta, not about the Blackpool.
Not at all.
Neither
Especially
am I.
after I tell you what they did here. Actually,
Let me ask you a question, Joe. How come your thing says absurd with Joe Feeney?
I started doing a solo podcast again. That's the new show. Absurd.
So are people supposed to know that?
Well, I mean, it's brand new. I figured I'd put it on the screen and then maybe, at least people would know.
It'd be nice if you explained it.
Absurd.
Yeah, I haven't promoted it.
Absurd. What's absurd?
Yeah,
absurd,
it's
right?
absurd. No, it's like I'm going to do the cancel culture. I'm going to take on some politics and news and stuff like that. Start solo and then have some interesting guests.
Why don't you get some alt-right? Why don't you get Nick Fuentes on your podcast with you?
You never know who's going to be on the show. I will try not to get painted with that brush, but if I'm going to be talking politics, you never know.
I'm going to give Yuta credit, though, on this show, because backstage, Alex Marvez said he understood Yuta was on the verge of leaving and hoped to get a word with him. Then Yuta showed – okay, so this this was from Collision. Okay, they showed a distracted Yuta winning a match on Collision. So they actually recapped something from Collision to fill in on the storylines. This is the first good thing they did on this show. So he understood Yuta was on the verge of leaving and hoping to get a word with him. Yuta showed up, was asked about the others demanding he show up and defend the trios titles. And Yuta spoke about being conflicted and mistakenly talked about Wrestle Dream until Marvin's corrected by saying it's Grand Slam. People online were saying that was he goofed up. I think he did that on purpose. Okay, because the way he was acting, I thought that was a good little thing. Like he's so distraught he didn't even know what show he's to do. Right. So then a crew member showed up with one of the AEW Trios title belts and handed it to Yuta, while saying he had left it in the locker room. Yuta said the others want one more favor. The next one he'll kick. He has to. So he basically said he's going to.
But what is he distraught about? Because they tried to.
Because what they did to Bryan Danielson.
Suffocate.
Yeah.
Okay, so
didn't you hear the promo?
How
he was
long
talking about Bryan Danielson and this.
How long is he supposed to be out? They put the bag over his head for what? A couple seconds.
Well,
what's wrong with him?
It. He's coming. Like if he comes
but what's
back,
wrong with him?
I don't know. But the thing is, if he comes back, he's immediately has to wrestle Nigel McGuinness instead of deal with this.
Right.
Issue.
It's almost like if I went and I held my breath under the pool for 30 seconds and now I can't do anything. I mean, what I don't understand. This very weird angle.
So
am I wrong here or what?
No. Of course it's a weird angle. It's stupid. So Roderick Strong comes out the broadcast table with Taven and Mike Bennett. And so Hook has a match against some guy with a bunch of tattoos called JD Inc. He beats him in 1 minute. And then, dude, okay, you're putting the guys in commentary to help you get them interested in the match, right? Dude, they should have. Okay, here's the dynamic. All right, here's what I'm presenting to you. I want to get everybody interested in Roderick Strong against Hook. Hook's a babyface. Roderick Strong is a heel. The three of them show up. Taven, Bennett, and Thing. They sit at the far end of the announcer table. Okay, there's three of them. Okay, so then they're sitting next to Shivani, who is sitting next to Excalibur, who is sitting at the other far end of the table is Taz. Dude, why didn't they just start trying to like intimidate Taz while he's like doing announcing, like standing behind him, like getting Taz attracted to Hook is in the ring looking at like, okay, well, hey, what are these guys going to be doing to my dad up there? They didn't even do like none of that dynamic. They just cut some promos. Hook went up the stage. They yelled at each other, and that was it. And I was like, dude, like all the elements you had there, this could have been a way more interesting segment.
100%. I thought the same. I thought the same thing when Hook went over them. They were going back and forth. I thought maybe Taz would come and put the hold on somebody or something to get some. They did nothing, bro. And if you were a casual fan, you wouldn't even know Taz is his dad.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. And I will say this: as much as I buried Bennett and the other guy, what's the other guy's name? Taven for being boring and uninteresting since they've gotten into on Collision, they did a really good promo. But anyways, Hook to me doesn't feel as hot or special as he did before, but that's a specialty of AEW. They love cooling off hot acts, whether it's Wardlow or Hook or Monet or there's so many, bro. Right. I like Roderick Strong a lot, but I'm not into this feud at all.
Yeah. I mean, bro, you could have had the thing like they're like Taven and Bennett are standing behind Taz. He's always looking for they're patting him on the back like pretty hard. Taz like finally Taz gets up out of his seat.
Bearing his son.
Well, he gets up out of his seat. and like it gets in their faces, and then Hook has to run to the match.
Nothing. They did nothing. They took. It's the same thing as I just said about Tony Khan. He took the most dangerous move in wrestling, and he's glad to be walking. He's lucky to be walking, and his dad came out concerned. A billionaire. And what did they do, bro? They did nothing. There's been nothing done since then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me, just real quick, you said the name JD. This is obviously different. But did you see that Vince had JD from New York on the brand?
Yeah.
That's a little odd.
Why not?
I mean, because he usually is against those guys.
Who cares? So you want to talk to people that disagree with you about things.
But usually those guys won't go on. That's what I'm saying. I don't think that
JD guy's been burying AEW lately too. Everybody, their mother's upset with AEW except for Dave Meltzer. Like everybody's been critical except for like Dave is like just.
Did you see any of the segment he was on or no?
There's a couple things. They both share mutual interest in burying Sean Ross Sapp.
That's what.
Right. So that yes.
Was it any good? Were they a good match?
I just saw clips. It's all right.
Okay.
All right. So Alex Marva's backstage and said that the Pac, Castagnoli, Will Udon issued an open challenge for the trios titles for next week's Grand Slam. The Isaiah Kenny and Mark Quinn said it's set right up their alley. Okay. Well, there's two guys. All right. So This turned into one of the most controversial segments they've had in a long time. All right, so they said, I'll be your Huckleberries, basically. So the Renee Paquette interviewed Cage, who was accompanied by Nick Wayne, Killswitch, and Mother Wayne, and Christian spoke about Nick having a four-way on Rampage against Rocky Romero, Leo Rush, and Kip Sabian. Christian said the match, Rocky Romero, Leo Rush, and Kip Sabian. Christian said the match would start Nick's road to glory because he decided that he and Nick will hold the championships at the same time, and Christian said it would not go over well in the Moxley household because Moxley also wants the AEW championship, but he doesn't have the contract for the shot. So Christian noticed that Nick wandered off the interview and saw that he'd confronted Kip Sabian. That's the second time he's done this, by the way. I know. Remember when he walked off the segment to talk to Kip Sabian? I don't know what the deal is with this.
Yeah, and he totally punked him on this one.
Christian called for the camera to be turned off, and they shot this kind of weird where the camera was kind of like, it was like a, they were secretly recording this.
Yeah, but for a baby face, you buried the baby face because he's like, well, I better not see you again. And he's like, towering down. Yeah, okay. Like you just kind of emasculated him.
Well, here's what he said. He said he didn't know what Sabian's problem with Nick was. He didn't care that his father died. And Chris said he would put Sabian in the ground next to his father if he pulled this again. It was like an adult yelling at a little kid.
Right.
Was it
That's kind of what it felt like.
Exactly what it was, Yeah. So, yeah, it's like a guy yelling at the kid that I'm going to whoop your ass if you like, Right. But I have no clue where they're going. So I am kind of interested to see what the direction you're taking here because this is kind of weird, right? So then they do Mariah May and Serena Deeb versus Yuka Sakazaki and Queen Amanita. Bro, if you hadn't watched AEW in a while, you turned this on. What did this look like to you?
Well, the first thing is Sakazaki somebody new or is it somebody from the past that I forgot about?
I don't know. But she looks like she's 12 years old. Right.
She looks like she's 12. Bro, you should hear her talk.
I know.
She talked on Collision. She sounds like she's 8. So, bro, I know nothing about Amanada. I know nothing about Sakazaki. There's been no character development. There's been nothing on them. And this is what frustrates me about this. Okay? Yeah. And they're supposed to be in a feud. Deeb is supposed to be in a feud with, I think May's in one with Sakazaki and Deeb with Amanada. Okay, because I saw him on Collision, but when did it start? Why are they in a feud? What's going on?
And they're actually selling Sakazaki as like a contender for May.
Right.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me! This girl looks like she's 12. Japanese, right?
Tony is a huge mark for the Japanese.
Yeah,
doesn't matter if you know them or you like them. He does. That's all that matters.
So the finish of this was actually they couldn't even beat these girls. May had to hit her with the title belt for the DQ.
Yeah,
this little girl. Okay,
right.
I'm sorry. People are going to. The thing is like if you bring up how ridiculous this looks, okay, their fans come after you because you're disrespecting women's right. And I'm like, dude, I think it's disrespectful to put a little kid in the ring that looks like a little kid. Like this is not.
She's not a little kid, but she looks like one.
She looks like it. But my point is like you're not upholding to the principles of the suspension of disbelief, which I still think is a foundation.
Right, because if she was like, okay, remember how Bruce Lee wasn't that tall,
right?
But everything he did, right? You were like, this guy can take. She's not credible, and that's the problem. Yeah, that's not disrespect.
So it's good. Like the post match, May worked over Sakazaki with the belt shots, and gave her a kiss on the cheek before exiting the ring. And then they went straight to a Mina Shirakawa promo package where she was talking about she wants Mariah May back, where they could be because they could have good times together again. So then they hyped they did a video package for Danielson versus Najee McGuinness. I mean, there was an audio glitch that interrupted them. So, there's just a high package. So then John Moxley makes his entrance.
Just real quick, yeah, you're going to despise that match because, like I said before, Tony likes to do these throwback versus Joe. And what Brian and Nigel, their Ring of Honor series was some of the stiffest, most violent, not blood, just very hard work, stiff headbutts were a big part of the story.
Oh,
they're going to have one of those matches. You're not going to be a fan.
Yeah, great.
Well, let me just say this. I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is true, Joe. You could look it up so people don't go, "Oh, Conan's putting out false." Because I heard this, I'm not sure. It said that AEW was having problems selling tickets for Grand Slam. Is that true?
Let me get that for you.
Okay, so here's the thing: they have yet to confirm whether Danielson's will be there next week. When are they going to announce this on Collision or Rampage? Will half the people watch the show? Why aren't they saying it on Dynamite? I don't understand why we haven't seen Danielson. I'm still perplexed at the fact that they suffocated him in a bag for I don't know how many seconds, and he's out of action like he got run over or something.
Right. I don't know.
Well, they have it set up, and this guy says this is a Reddit post, but it's from a WrestleNomics report. They had 20,000 there 3 years ago, and right now they have this Arthur Ashe Stadium set up for 5,728 people. And 4,411 sold, 1,317 remaining. So it's an
80% decrease in audience.
Yep, and it's not sold out. Yeah, as of 3 days ago.
Of course not. Yeah. All right, so let's go. So they did that package. I don't know why you think that match was going to sell. Okay, so Moxley and
because Tony probably liked that match.
Yeah. So once they got into the barricade, Private Party attacked them, and Castagnoli worked over Mark Quinn, and Moxley reffed up Isaiah Cassie. I don't know what Castagnoli was thinking here. He was slinging the guy into the barricade, but the guy's feet were like going into the crowd like they were kicking people. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
I was like, what are you trying to do? Get sued here? So then Commander showed up and dropkicked Castagnoli off the apron. And Commander went for a dive, and Alex Ibrahante showed up and had the mic taken from him by Shafir.
Well, he went for a dive and he got hit by an uppercut by Moxley and laid him out.
Laid him out.
Everybody looked like a J-Bron here.
No, but let me tell you the visual that somebody talked about. Bro, they all had the white. Did you, Joe, look this up, the movie Romper Stomper, okay? They said that this is not a very good visual, having a bunch of guys that look like Romper Stomper white supremacists beating up a couple black guys on the show. Like that was the visual of the skinheads wear the white t-shirts and stuff
right, and the boots.
Yeah, the boots is that was what it looked like. It said this one. People were commenting that this is what was not a good visual look. I mean, I didn't care, but
what is Romper Stomper, a movie?
Yeah, it's about a bunch of Nazis, but
skinheads in Australia. I remember this actually. It's very controversial. You don't see it
right. But yeah, so that was like the visual that everybody thought. So then they basically they pulled a toolbox from underneath the ring and grabbed a hammer. And Moxley said he could end the careers of Private Party for what they did, but he wasn't going to do that. He said Private Party was with the company for 5 years. Basically, he was cutting a promo on them. He took a hammer and broke the guy's hand. Why they're getting so it's just a very bizarre segment. Then Darby ran out and hit Cassioli with the skateboard, and Moxley rolled out in the ring and they jawed at one another while Excalibur hyped their match at Grand Slam. This is like Shafir was shown holding Cassioli back at ringside, and Allen swung the skateboard at Moxley and exited the ring. Then Allen got on the mic and said he's not the same guy he was 5 years ago. He said run through Moxley, then become the next AEW champion. This was a very bizarre segment. I don't know why they had an extended amount of heat on the Private Party guys. And they attacked him out of nowhere. I don't know. What you?
Not only that, Moxley had a great line, and this, he said something like, "Private Party's been with the company for 5 years, and they're still in the spots they were at the beginning." Right. And I felt remember when you came up with that idea for 1,000 holds for Jericho?
Right.
And he kept bringing out
all these, right. Yeah.
You could bring out a list of names that are in the same place as they were 5 years ago.
Right. You can start reading the list, come back for commercial break, and you're still reading the list.
Right. So I don't think all of that was necessary to punk Private Party like that and punk Commander and all those guys. And I thought that was all unnecessary because the only thing I care about, and I think only thing people care about, is him and Darby. They have a great dynamic.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in watching their match, by the way.
So next was Ricochet against the Beast Mortis. I imagine you probably liked this match more than I did because they were doing a lot of lucha.
Right.
So,
I love
yeah,
this match.
Right.
Ricochet,
I was not
right.
a fan of this. So, but
because Mortis is a good opponent. He's probably the best face in the company. So Ricochet was able to show out.
Okay. All right. So, of course, Ricochet goes over. Then a Hangman Page video aired, and they showed highlights from Collision of the FTR versus Grizzled Vets. The Grizzled Vets lost. Then Tony Schiavone stood in the ring and introduced Hangman. Page said he knew the day would come when Swerve was dealt with and would be gone. He said there were dozens of other people who need to pay for supporting Swerve and protecting him. Basically, he's going after everybody that even likes Swerve. Like, that's how obsessed he is with Swerve.
Can I be nitpicky about something?
Yeah.
And tell me if you agree or not, or I am being too nitpicky. I felt that if he was going to do an in-ring promo, right, Hangman, that why did we need a video package before it? I would have rather allocated that time to somebody else that needs it.
That's a good point. It didn't bother me. But this is a good promo.
It didn't bother me. I just felt, you could have explained Shaka Zika or whatever her name is, and right. Queen Anamata or somebody that needs it. But go ahead.
So basically, Page started intimidating Tony Schiavone because he said that he was a supporter of Swerve. Right. So then Jarrett came out. They had a fight that spilled to ringside. He was going for the buckshot lariat, but a security guard grabbed his leg, and Jarrett got the mic and cut a pretty good promo on him. Said he wasn't going to let Page put one finger on Schiavone. He said there was an entire locker room that wanted to beat out of him, and said he's at the front of the line. So, and this is actually pretty. This is a good program because Jeff is a very polished vet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so right. This is actually entertaining to me. So. I imagine probably the younger guys aren't fans of this, but I like it because I
liked it too.
I like it too. Well, we're older. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. We probably liked it because we know Jeff knows how to do TV,
right?
To do an angle, which is what
he'll do everything perfect here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So this will probably be surprisingly better than people are going to give it credit for.
Yes,
is what I would say. All right. So this next segment made my top 5, and it wasn't much, but it was my top 5. Will Ospreay interrupted Renee Paquette trying to interview Ricochet. And Ospreay said there's always been heat between them. My bad, Ospreay said, we'll offer a handshake. And Ricochet passed on the handshake and called Ospreay, told him to get some wins and come see him. Ricochet said it seemed like everyone in AEW was calling him out to prove something. He said everyone in AEW seemed to be more worried about him than he's worried about them. And Ricochet said nobody seems to be calling out Ospreay. Ricochet said he spoke with Tony Khan and got a match, and he said he will challenge Ospreay for the AEW Championship on the October 2nd 5-year anniversary edition. And Ricochet called Ospreay little bro and then walked away. Bro, I don't know what they're doing here in AEW that they didn't do with him in WWE, but he is 100 times more confident in his mic work on this show.
Well, you brought up the fact that maybe Ricochet needed an edge and turned heel. He hasn't actually turned heel, but he's kind of being being outspoken. He's his everything, his body language, his confidence, the way he's talking. He's very cocky. This is great, and I'm a big Ricochet fan, so I'm happy for him.
It's literally like maybe he. It's like this is like what we said he should be doing. Right?
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And I also think that in 2 weeks, since it's their 5th year anniversary and they're plugging it so much, I think Ospreay and Ricochet are going to go out there and steal the show. I think they will have a great match. But this was really good for Ricochet.
So the main event, I watched this main event, and this probably would have been a match I probably would have fast forwarded through because it's supposed to be like, this is, Joe, what is, get the numbers. I want to see what this did. This is literally like 5 of their top guys that they're trying to push as top guys.
I think they had the lowest number this.
Pull it up, Joe. Wow. 630. Yeah, it was the lowest rated segment on the show.
And so
you got Okada, the Elite, Ospreay, Fletcher, and Takeshita in there, and this didn't do a number.
And you know what's the weirdest thing? Here's the weirdest thing. The match was really good.
I didn't think so.
I liked it a lot.
I'm going to disagree. I'll disagree.
Okay. That's cool. I thought it was a really good match, and I like that, they're doing this slow build between Takeshita and Okada, all right? And also Okada, he pie-faced Ospreay.
Yeah.
I don't know, pie-faced Ospreay.
Right, after the match, yeah.
Right, after the match. And on top of this, bro, when did Don Callis turn babyface? They're like,
that's my point. It's like he's shaking hands. He's like celebrating. I'm like, bro, this completely misses the mark with me. I would have loved it if Takeshita pie-faced Ospreay, and they kept this angle going here. And Ospreay says, "What did you?" Ospreay is Callis is chastising Ospreay, saying, "What did you say to him to make him mad at you like that?"
Right. something.
Something
they
like
don't
something,
take advantage of these things.
Right.
Like the
It's
thing
like,
you were bringing up with Taz, and
Right.
because I was thinking the same thing. This is it. The
Right.
guy came to the back. There's 3 guys talking about him. There was no physicality. Taz didn't get involved. I mean, why are you missing all these points to do something?
Bro, they miss spots of heat. There's not a lot of heat on this. This is a show with no heat. Bro, WWE's there's heat all throughout the show. Like this show, they have opportunities for heat and just don't do them. You know, so
Right.
but whatever. But this show wasn't very good. That was a segment. Right.
Yo, what's up? I just want to thank you guys for watching this clip. Don't forget to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And join our YouTube membership for hours and hours of exclusive, unedited, uncensored content. And being a member will help you get involved in our upcoming live streams. Thank you for your support. Thank you for riding with us. I know you got a lot of other podcast choices, be it wrestling or other ones. And thank you for picking us. Boom.